Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the July Oh So Inspired collaboration hop led by Call Me Crafty Al. That's a monthly collaboration hop where we take inspiration from a piece of art and then everybody does their own rendition of that particular thing. Usually it's a card, and it is this month. If you're interested in seeing everybody else's take on the same inspiration piece, there is a link in the description box. Is a video playlist which allows you to just watch the entire hop from start to finish. So this month we took inspiration from Mindy Egan. I know I had been following her for quite some time, and the thing that really stood out to me about this sketch were the swatches, and I really thought it would be fun to do it in sort of a monochromatic way. I had picked up earlier this texture stamp set, so I think this one will be very good to do the swatches with, or maybe this one. So I thought this would also pair well with the technique that my friend Stamper Girl showed me last weekend on a another stream. And that's basically doing faux watercolor using dye ink. So I think that's what we're going to do. So let me just get supplies together and we will be back to start working on the project. Okay, we're back. Grab my stamping platform. I pulled out this particular clear stamp, which I think will be the right size. And I grabbed a couple other supplies. I had this great thinking of you foil sentiment that I think we're going to use as the sentiment itself. And then I cut a layering piece, grabbed a piece of white cardstock. It's going to give us a very fine purple border here. And I think we're going to make this mostly a monochromatic card because I felt the monochromatic versions of this card really spoke to me. So it's going to basically go together like this, and then we're going to have the swatches on here. So let me walk you through the technique I'm going to use. It is, so I'm going to put this down in the corner. This is going to be potentially a little hard to see because it's white on white, but we will fix that shortly. So I'm going to line this up in the middle because I think I'll do the middle swatch first because I think it'll be easier to start with the middle and then build on it versus trying to get this even because I think I will spice these out a little bit just so we can see the difference. So I'm going to pick this up. I'm going to grab the same color of ink, this Petunia Pop, which matches the cardstock. So that will help us maintain sort of a more graphic design kind of monochromatic vibe. And I'm going to ink this all the way up. As you can see, this is a pretty intense color. So what I'm going to do is just grab a scrap, which I have here. I'm just going to basically stamp off to get rid of most of that ink, just to leave a little bit there. See, like we pulled off all this ink that was there before. And then I'm going to grab my Fine Mist sprayer. This one I think I got from a watercolor supply company, but you can use anything that you have. You want to basically use a very low amount of water to just sort of get this a little damp so that when it stamps down, it runs a little bit. So, like, that's all you need. You don't need it to even beat up or anything. The tendency with this is to kind of use way too much water, basically. So I'm just going to stamp it down and then pull it up. As you can see, let me bring this in a little closer. You can see there, we're getting a little bit of bleeding as a result, which is exactly what we want. So what I'm gonna do is repeat this two more times to get sort of a lighter one and a darker one. I'm gonna put the darker one down here and have it sort of be behind the sentiment. So I'll be right back once that is all taken care of. Okay, so we are back, and here you can see we have our three generations of faux watercolor. I actually had to go back and overstamp the second one because it turned out when I put the first one down, you didn't really get a differentiation. But you can see how we're getting all this great sort of bleeding, sort of like, so it feels like watercolor. Now, if you wanted to reintroduce more of the texture that was in the original stamp, once this is dry, we can stamp it down. What I'm going to do is make sure it's adhered to the sticky mat and just let this dry, and then we'll be back to assemble the final card. One thing I didn't mention before is there is a link in the description box if you want to look at Mindy's original creation. Hers is, I think, comes through a little more vibrantly than mine will. So definitely check it out. I think it's pretty cool, and it's always good to give the artist some love as well. So I will let this dry, and then through the magic of editing, we will come back and put the card together. And we are back, and here you can see the final product. We did get a little bit of warping, which you're going to get. This particular technique doesn't use a ton of water, but another way you can do it rather than misting the stamp is you could just mist down your whole cardstock, and that will take a while to dry. And we'll have sort of the warping elements. I use standard cardstock here, so there's probably a little bit more warping than you would necessarily get. I'm going to use some liquid glue just to glue this down once I clear off my glue press, because that generally, I would say, with wet method stuff, I always really find that that works a lot better. So we just get some glue down, and then this requires a little bit of lining up because it is a very thin border. But that's why I like the wet glue for this. It makes it a lot easier. There we go. That's going to be about what I want. So I'm just going to make sure the glue is there. And if you want, you can weight this down. I don't think I need to. The warping wasn't that wild. And I'm just going to pull in a white card base. Then I'm going to flip this over and just use a little tape to put it together. As I mentioned at the outset, this is a group challenge, so I'd encourage you to check out a lot of the other makers. I think it's always interesting to see how different people interpret the same challenge. So I'm just going to line this up so we have a similar border. And this is a little bit more clean and simple than I usually go. So I think we will definitely pop our sentiment up on some foam tape because that'll definitely give a little bling to it. The sentiment's already foiled, so I don't think I even really need an embellishment here. So this is a pretty straightforward card. But I think that's kind of the nice thing about clean and simple. You know, it really gives you sort of this um, straightforward vibe, which I think can be just very, I don't know, I feel like it's just refreshing after, especially after working on holiday cards a lot, where you feel like you're just sort of doing a more is more kind of approach. Now I'm thinking I might actually rotate this because I didn't love that you kind of lose the three stripes. So I'm thinking I'm going to rotate this and actually put it down like this because I think that's going to look cool. You're still going to have this minimalist look with the stripes, and I think that's going to be great. I'm going to put it right there. Can be a little careful in case I want to move it. Yeah, I like that we get the bottom of the stripes where I think you can see the color differentiation the best. So I think I will rotate this and do it like this. I think that will be our finished card for today. Thanks for watching it, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. And comment down below if you have any thoughts on how you would interpret this sketch.